adventures of Rocky and Bullwinkle and Friends. Starring that jetty Jerry O'Lace, Rocket J. Squirrel, and his pal, Bullwinkle the Moose.
Hi, glad to see you again.
Likewise.
We got some great things on the show today.
Like what? Like what?
Well, you ought to know, Bullwinkle. You're in some of them.
Well, let's get started.
Well, as you know, everybody was amazed to find a flower growing in Frostbite Falls, Minnesota, including the town's leading citizens, Rocky and Bullwinkle.
The temperature must be rising.
It certainly was. Mercury was shooting out of the tops of thermometers all over town. The reason, of course, was that no thermometer in Frostbite Falls was built to register more than 20 degrees above zero.
Well, dagnabbit, we never had a heat wave before.
Then, when Rocky and Bullwinkle tried to find out about the weather, they were picked up by a sinister figure and taken to a federal office so secret its name wasn't even on the door. But once inside, it was Old Home Week. For the head of the agency was none other than Captain Peter Wrongway Peach Fuzz.
Never mind, operator, I found them. Operator.
You have the phone backwards, Captain.
Well, that's no reason for her to be rude.
Captain, why are we here?
Why are any of us here?
Huh?
Our lives are but sparks, flickering against eternity.
Captain!
Mere whispers in the hurricane of time.
But why are we here in this office?
Oh, that's different.
And why is the weather changing?
That I know.
Then why didn't you tell us?
It's not in my script, but here's the man who can explain it.
And the good captain flung open a nearby door.
That's the janitor's closet, Captain.
This must be the door.
That's the janitor.
So it is. Well, I've run out of doors.
Maybe that wasn't the janitor, Bullwinkle.
Hey, are you the janitor?
No, I'm the professor. So you are. Boys, this is Professor Werner von Beige.
Isn't that Von Brown?
Von Beige. This one bleached out a little.
Well, I can't make head or tail of this.
Ah, then you know.
Know what?
That the world is turning upside down.
Upside down?
Jawohl, Topsy Turvy.
And the good professor told our heroes his startling story. It seems that according to his calculations, the North Pole was sliding further and further south.
Actually, the Earth is slowly tipping over this way.
Well, everybody needs a change once in a while.
But in 6 months, the South Pacific is going to be where the Arctic Ocean is now.
Where'll that put Frostbite Falls, Professor?
According to my calculations, Frostbite Falls should wind up right on the equator.
Gee.
And Chicago will be where Honolulu is.
And what'll happen to Philadelphia?
Oh, they'll still be in the cellar.
Nice to know some things won't change.
But we don't want to live on the equator.
How come?
It's just going to ruin the ice hockey season.
Hey, that's right. We gotta break this thing up.
But how?
Well, I figure if we can find a new North Pole and melt the ice there, the world may straighten out.
Good idea. Where is the new North Pole?
It's due west of here, in the Pacific Ocean.
Well, then let's go.
And so a few days later, our heroes were preparing to take off for the West Pole.
You got the stuff to melt the ice, Bullwinkle?
There it is, Rock. 2,000 heating pads, 100 pounds of salt, 500 incendiary bombs, and 400 pictures of Gina Lollapalooza.
Well, some ought to work.
And something did. The captain turned a switch to reverse jet, and the huge plane began to lumber down the field backwards.
Looks like a rough trip ahead of us, Bullwinkle.
Looks like a rougher one behind us.
Then as the plane began to rise slowly, tail first, a small figure waved goodbye from the runway below.
Bye-bye. Sure nice of him to come see us off, wasn't it?
Who?
Professor Von Beige.
Professor Von Beige?
You notice kind of an echo in here?
Yes, as fate and Captain Peach Fuzz would have it, our boys had left behind the only man who knew where in the world they were headed.
What difference does it make? I can only see where we've been anyway.
Be sure to see our next episode, Bullwinkle Takes the Wheel or the Bum Steer.
Doggone it, will you never learn?
What are you trying to do, Junior?
I'm trying to teach Spartacus how to juggle fruit, but he keeps dropping the watermelon.
And he'll continue to drop it. You know the old saying, you can't teach an old dog new tricks.
I can't teach him an old trick.
That's beside the point, my boy. Now you take the fable of the fox and the hound. Not too many years ago, a fox named Murgatroyd Cornelius Applefinger, or MCA, went out to Hollywood and opened a theatrical agency.
Hello, CB. MCA here. Say, CB, I understand you're making a whale of a picture called Moby Richard, and you need a whale. Let me tell you, CB, let me tell you. Sure, I got one. And he sings.
Yes, the whale could sing all right, but he couldn't swim.
Darryl, baby, it's MCA here. Look, sweetie, according to the trades, I see a casting for the lead in King Kong. You need a gorilla. Let's not monkey around, Darryl. I got just the one for you. And he dances, just like Ruby Keeler.
True, he could dance all right, but he couldn't stand high places.
Hello, Dory, baby. MCA here. Look, Lolly just called. She tells me you're making an airplane picture called The Fly and the Mighty. Wonderful, sweetie. Guess what I got? Yeah. How'd you get? And he plays the drums.
Yeah, he could play the drums with the best of them, but he couldn't fly an airplane. And with 10% of nothing coming in, MCA was forced into giving up his luxurious suite of offices. And now, hungry and destitute, he wandered the streets of the sprawling city. The lights of the theater marquees cut deeply. He was no longer a part of the thing he loved. His only thought now was to end it all and go to the loge section of the big movie show in the sky. Taking the coward's way out, he took the road to the river and stood at the very brink of Pier 17. And that's when he first heard the sound that was to change his life.
Say, that sounds like somebody sweeping on the river.
Not on the river, over the river. As he watched, the dog drifted into shore until he was directly overhead.
Hey, doggy baby. Hey, doggy doll. You know what you're doing? Wake up!
Hi?
What are you, some kind of nut or something? You can't fly, you're a dog.
Some folks, walk in their sleep. I fly in my sleep, so sue me.
MCA knew a good thing when he saw it. A dog that flew would set Hollywood on its ears.
Hello, CB, MCA here. Yeah, wait a minute, hold it, CB. Yeah, I know he sank. So did the picture, remember? I understand you're making devil dogs of the air. Now, look, I don't got an Airedale. I got a devil of a dog that really flies.
You certain? This isn't another one of your fly-by-night tricks, MCA?
So help me, Selznick, this dog is a real sleeper.
Okay. Have him take this bomb, fly over the field, and drop it on that hangar.
Right, CB. Okay, Rover. Rockabye doggy in that treetop.
The director and the crew had never seen anything like it. The dog rose into the air, and at an altitude of 1,000 feet, did a perfect Immelman and dropped the bomb.
There. What did I tell you, CB?
Amazing, colossal. Of course, he needs a little target practice.
You mean he didn't hit the hangar?
No, he wiped out Beverly Hills.
Who happened to be the leading lady. But they signed up another one, and the next morning they also signed up the dog to a 99-year contract. Production began on Devil Dogs of the Air, and he was destined for stardom. The script called for power dives, strafing trains, diving under bridges, and crash landings. And Freddie was superb through all of it.
Well, CB, what do you say? Great?
No doubt of it. We got a winner. All we got to shoot is the final love scene. Have Freddie on the set at 6 in the morning.
And that's when the trouble began, because 6 in the morning is pretty early, and Freddie needed his shut-eye.
What's with Freddie? How can he do a love scene when he's sound asleep?
Oh, no, nothing, Steve. I'll fix it. Come on, Freddie. Up, boy, up.
And Freddie did go up into the air. This posed a problem, for without the love scene, the picture was worthless.
Might just as well tear up his contract.
No, CB, don't be hasty, baby. Wait, I'll wake him up.
But no matter what he tried, the dog slept and flew on. Finally, in desperation, Freddie was chained to the floor of the huge sound stage, but alas, that didn't work either. The entire cast and crew of Devil Dogs of the Air rose to unbelievable heights and were never seen or heard from again. So you see, Junior, you just can't teach an old dog new tricks.
That's not a bad moral, Pop, but I got a better one.
Oh, you're not going to say...
Yep. Let sleeping dogs fly.
message in a bottle.
Fan mail from some flounder?
No, this is what I really call a message. Now here's our own tribute to the arts, Bullwinkle's Corner.
Hello there. Today's poem is called My Shadow. Okay, Rock. Thank you. I have a little shadow that goes in and out with me, and what can be the use of him is more than I can see. He stays so close behind me, he's a coward, you can see. I'd think shame to stick to Nursey like... Ooh! All right, wise guy, pull him up, pull him up! Any time a dang busted shadow gets flipped with me... Ooh! Okay, you've been asking for it. Ooh. Well, I still got my secret weapon. Okay, Rocky, turn off the light. Oh, fiddle faddle.
And now...
Hey, Rocky, watch me pull a rabbit out of my hat.
But...
See? Nothing up my sleeve. Presto! Wrong hat.
And now it's time to meet Mr. Peabody.
Peabody here, and I'll be with you as soon as Sherman completes his geography lesson. One last question, Chairman. See this spot on the globe?
That's China, Mr. Peabody.
Correct. Now tell me, what is a China clipper?
A barber.
It would seem you need a little brushing up. Therefore, today's historical destination will be China.
Oh, boy, while we're there, I can learn how to play chopsticks.
Oh, you need a lot of brushing up, my boy. Wasting no further time, I set the Wayback Machine for the year 214 BC, and the place, the borderline of China proper and Mongolia. In less time than it takes to chop a bowl of suey, we found ourselves standing in the center of the bleak wastelands of Mongolia.
What are we going to do here?
We are going to witness the building of the Great Wall of China.
Well, who's going to build it? I don't see anyone.
True, there wasn't a soul in sight. However, 5 minutes later, the place was swarming with ferocious-looking Mongols, led by the legendary Fungus Khan.
Now, hear this, you guys. We ravage Mongolia until there's nothing left to ravage. Now, we gonna extend same courtesy to China. Also?
Also! With that, they spurred their horses toward the border.
Is there anything we can do to stop them?
There certainly is. Knowing Mongolia like the back of my paw, we were able to take a shortcut and cross the border into China well ahead of the oncoming horde.
Look, Mr. Peabody, there's a house.
It belonged to a wealthy merchant named Topsy Turvy, who had made a fortune exporting chow mein.
What is all this jazz about oncoming horde?
It's true, Mr. Louis. The Mongols are going to ravage China.
Well, live and let live. So long as they don't bother me, I don't care.
Yes, but the route they're taking happens to come right through this house.
I don't believe it.
Now do you believe it, Mr. Louis?
That's the 10:15 for Moscow. It's running late as usual.
Well, if it was, it left the conductor behind.
You better take it on land, Buster. We coming through here every day. Adios.
I guess you believe us now, huh, Mr. Louis?
But Louis was no longer with us. A quick search of the building turned him up in the basement, packing enough fortune cookies to last at least a year.
What are you doing, Mr. Louis?
I'm getting out while getting is good.
I can only surmise that Fungus Khan has intimidated you.
No, but he got me plenty scared.
Sure enough, his queue had turned snow white, which is a delightful fairy tale, I might add.
Don't let him bluff you, Mr. Louis. Be firm. Stop him from coming through your house.
That was all the incentive Louis needed. The following morning, after laboring at the borderline for 5 hours, he joined us over a steaming bowl of bird's nest soup.
That takes care of Fungus Khan.
Gee, Mr. Peabody, I'll bet he built the Great Wall of China.
Knowing that only I could construct the Great Wall in the short time of 5 hours, we ran through the window and saw that my suspicions were correct.
No trespassing. Will that stop them, Mr. Peabody?
This question was quickly answered, for at that very moment...
Stand back. Louis gonna vamoose.
He can't go, Mr. Peabody. Isn't he supposed to build the Great Wall?
Great Wall? What is a Great Wall?
It's the one thing that will keep the Mongols out of China.
That's a good idea. I gonna build it.
Being a man of considerable means, he hurried to the nearest rock shop.
I want 1,200 million pieces of rocks.
You want that to go?
No, I gonna eat it here, smarty.
His next stop was a cement shop directly across the street.
Give me 44 million bag of cement.
Oh, you want that gift lot? Dashing to the borderline, he threw himself into his work. At dawn the following day, Sherman and I ascended the hill overlooking the Mongol plains, and there, thundering their way toward the border, were Fungus Khan and his men.
Marvelous horsemanship, Mr. Peabody.
Yes, but when they see that wall, I suddenly recalled that we hadn't seen the wall, and when we did...
Oh, my gosh, he built it straight up into the air.
Obviously, this would never stop the Mongols. All they had to do was ride around it. I had to act and act fast.
Well, that's a pretty great wall, huh?
Stand aside, Louis. There's no time to lose. A rapid analysis of the formation enabled me to locate the all-important keystone. Just as the Mongols poured over the hill, I deftly plucked the keystone out and... The structure toppled to earth, forming a great wall 1,500 miles long. As for the Mongols, they experienced their own version of a Wall Street crash.
Well, it's all done, Mr. Peabody. But why is Chop Suey Louie planting acorns on top of it?
Well, obviously, Sherman, he hopes someday to raise walnuts.
Well, last time our boys were preparing to leave for their long trip to the West Pole, but with Captain Peter Peachfuzz at the wheel, they found themselves taking off backwards. Not only that, but they left Professor Von Beige standing on the runway, and he was the only man who knew where they were going.
And I'll tell you something, Junior, it wasn't that way.
Bullwinkle, we gotta get Captain Peachfuzz straightened out.
Impossible.
Well, we gotta try.
By this time, even the confused captain had figured out that something was wrong.
This is the first plane I've ever flown in that had an observation car.
Faster and faster the plane flew.
Buffeting.
Until it broke through the sound barrier and was traveling backwards faster than the speed of sound. As a result, when Rocky burst into the cabin and started to speak, his voice sounded like this.
Now,
And prompted by Rocky, Captain Peachfuzz turned the switch to forward. Instantly, the plane reversed direction. But everything inside it kept going the other way, including our friends.
That didn't work out exactly as I planned.
Fortunately, among the things that were falling with our friends were a number of parachutes, and in a few minutes they were all floating safely down, except Captain Peachfuzz.
Naturally.
Below them, Professor Von Beige was trudging sadly back to town when suddenly...
Hey, Professor, it's us!
Oh, you've come back for me. How nice. But where's their plane?
A good question, that, for at that moment, their abandoned plane broke in half in midair, and part of it landed in a downtown parking lot.
Now, there's something you don't see every day, Chauncey.
What's that, Edgar?
Half an airplane just landed in the parking lot.
Oh, I don't know, Edgar. T'other half ought to be here soon.
Wonder how come that half landed later, Chauncey.
That's the tourist section.
True.
Back at the airport, our friends were readying another plane.
Boy, it's sure lucky for us this is a fantasy show.
How come?
If this was for real, this plane would have cost a fortune.
Well, this time with an experienced flyer at the controls...
Rocket G, Squirrel himself!
The plane zoomed skyward and started on its long journey.
Could you make that a short journey?
How come?
I forgot the sandwiches.
But, Bullwinkle, it is a long journey.
Well, couldn't we do like they do in the movies? You know where you see the hands on the clock spinning, and the leaves dropping off the calendar, and the seasons changing, and the first thing you know...
Bullwinkle, you got a long white beard.
Must have gone too far. I better put a few leaves back on the calendar.
Better turn the clock back a bit, too, Bullwinkle.
How come?
Because we're getting awful low on gas.
And at that moment, the jet engines conked out and the plane started to fall.
Hey, we're gonna set a new record.
What's that?
We'll crash 2 planes in one episode.
We gotta send our position on the radio.
On the what?
On the radio.
Rocky, this may come as a shock to you, but we're not on the radio. We're on television.
I mean the plane radio.
Plane or FM, we're just not on it.
Captain, what's our position?
I've got it right here. We're between 56th and 57th Street on Madison Avenue.
Hokey smoke, you know what that means?
It means we're gonna crash right on the J. Walter Stucker Company.
No, it means we got a map of New York City.
Oh, that's terrible.
Yeah, it's a nice place to visit, but I wouldn't...
It's a little too late for jokes now, Bullwinkle.
Oh.
And the plane plunged dizzily downward. Be with us next time for the Ocean Waves or High Divers.
I said it was too late for jokes.
It's all right, Brock. That wasn't funny.
Well, I guess that about wraps up another Rocky show.
Certainly hope you enjoyed it. I did. I always say...
Bullwinkle, time for us to go.
Already? Okay, but first, here are some of the people who made this show impossible.
That's not all.
The fingers get tired. Oop! Got away from me again.
Well, see you next time. Ready, Bullwinkle?